Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's had a great day. Made some tremendous gains. Today I did want to discuss section 472, which is titled "Not Justifying Oneself." Probably gonna be a quick one, but I'll let talk about it. I like throughout this book, I guess the pursuit of knowledge or the true pursuit of knowledge, its perspective has changed within me because, you can never seek knowledge in a completely disinterested fashion, right? And there's always sense of biases. There's always preconceptions that, whether you consciously are aware of them or not, you are trying to rectify them. You are, in a way, trying to substantiate these preconceptions or these notions that you already have, and in this pursuit and this path of knowledge and what you consider to be knowledge and what resources you are going to use in order to continue to progress, these are all going to stem and these are all going to be, there's going to be an invisible hand in play. I mean, whatever you call invisible, I guess, considering that is from you. But these preconceptions are going to have a huge role to play in where this pursuit goes. But when it comes to someone like Nietzsche, and when he talks about people of like the free spirits and those of the new generations, those who have gone past religion, seeking knowledge not to justify something or not to mitigate pain or anything like that, but to place yourself very uncomfortably, place yourself in a very uncomfortable position and have to realize uncomfortable, painful truths. When you go through some of these aphorisms, he always makes that case that, like, you're going to be dealing with a lot of pain and you're going to have to smile on the scorn. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to just embrace it and you're going to have to take it for what it is, not seek knowledge as to say, look how smart I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference in perspective and a difference in the angle of you trying to be better than everybody else or seeking knowledge to eradicate as much as possible and try to get under and over the foundations of civilization, right? And that's why I love the movie Fight Club. That phrase always resonates with me when Tyler Durden is the figment of his imagination. They're climbing up into a bus, and some guy brushes on them, and they make I feel attacked because Tyler looks at some guy with a Calvin Klein underwear. And he's like, "Is that manly to you?" And he scoffs. And he's like, self-improvement is masturbation, but self-destruction. And, he doesn't finish there. But, I repeat that phrase many times because it really is about self-destruction. It really is about going at from that perspective, what parts of me need to die, not what parts of me need to improve. What parts of me do I need to let go in order to improve? What limbs do I need to get to extirpate from myself in order to progress, in order to be inclined to perform other deeds? These treacherous desires have to be eradicated. That's why I really do believe now that self-improvement is masturbation. And the reason I'm speaking about that is because it's in regards to the pursuit of knowledge as well. It's not sort of to improve something, but what facets of me have been bullshit? What facet of me no longer work? What inclinations that I have that are no longer viable that I now have to drown, I now have to burn. And adopt new ones and adopt new ideas, and maybe contradictory or not, but none of these steps are easy. We are creatures of habit, and our pride and our ego does not allow us a lot of times to admit fault and to admit mistakes. We always try to deflect blame somehow because we're pussies, and that's how we were brought up. But let's go ahead and continue before I could ramble off any further. It's a conversation. So, quote A, but why are you not willing to justify yourself? B, I could do it in this instance, as in dozens of others, but I despise the pleasure which lies in justification. For all that matters little to me. And I would rather bear a stained reputation than give those petty folks, the spiteful pleasure of saying he takes these things very seriously. This is not true. Perhaps I ought to have more consideration for myself, or look upon it as a duty to rectify erroneous opinions about myself. I am too indifferent and too indolent regarding myself, and consequently also regarding everything that is brought about through my agency. End quote. And this goes hand in hand with what I was talking about. Because even in the pursuits of knowledge, or even in pursuing whatever goals we may have, once you begin to have to justify your actions to other people, you have kind of lost the footing. You have lost the high ground, I guess you could say, because now you're coming up with excuses. Now, because a lot of times when we attempt to justify our actions to another individual, we're never completely honest as to why we began that, as to why we pursued that to begin with. We have to contort, we have to manipulate the words, we have to be very cognizant of how we display or how we present our excuses to our neighbors in order to be justified by them. But then everything gets muddied, and the original intention, the pure intention, has now been lost for you trying to satiate to the curiosity of those around you and those who don't matter, right? At the end of the day, these are your pursuits. Why do I have to excuse myself to my neighbors? They can go fuck themselves, right? But yeah, because in the pursuit of knowledge, you have to bear with the fact that you are going to deal with stained reputation, and these are things that you cannot allow to hamper you or dissuade you from doing any of these things. Because we all start off as heretics. All these great advancements in history, all these great advancements in religion, philosophy, and ways of thinking. Those people who later on became legends, later on became these foundational figures, first started off as heretics, first started off as being excommunicated, first started off as men who had to be ostracized. And, look at Socrates. He had to drink a bottle of poison because he was corrupting the youth. His very own society wanted him out, considering him an atheist, a heretic, and look how esteemed he is now. Many men were butchers, and then later on became patria patrias, like Mr. Augustus, right? Octavian, the boy butcher. And given long enough and eradicating enough opponents, and no one thinks of him as the boy butcher anymore. Now do that. They consider him one of the greatest and one of the most influential figures of all time. And did he have to justify himself in those pursuits? Probably not. Probably pay lip service, but these very pragmatic individuals are very well aware of what they need to be doing. I assume, who am I to put myself in the shoes of a man like Augustus, but, a man that intelligent, I'm sure knew what he was doing. And in these pursuits, opinion shouldn't matter. I was speaking about this on the last episode, is that there's so many trappings to constantly seek gratification from the people around us. And that is consistently going to impede on our growth and impede on where we are going to end up in. Because we are always going to have that proverbial judge of civilization hanging over our heads, and us trying to always justify or trying to, okay, but if I do this, how can I present it to the public? But if I do this, then I can't do that. And there is this stagnation that is going to occur by having to justify yourself instead of just going at it and see what happens, and damn the pain and damn whatever happens after. A very stoic way of accepting the consequences of whatever pursuit you're engaged in. It's like people who, perform in life and then they get mad at the consequences, and then you're just like, dude, like, what else did you expect going down this road? Like, it's just how, there is a virtue in selfishness, and yes, one day I'm going to read Ayn Rand. But I really do like these because it just reminds me a lot of like a stoicism. It's like, why do I have like why should I care if I come off as indifferent? Why do I care if I come off as indolent? Why do I care if I come off as insensitive to other people in my pursuits? I'm like, why do I have to pretend that I'm doing it for other people? Why do I have to pretend that I'm doing all these great deeds because I want to make the world a better place, and I want to all this altruistic horse shit that we have to blurt out every fucking day just so people don't get mad at us. Justifying yourself really does hinder growth and hinder true progress, and that's why in the last one that I did is like when he was talking about, why would you not want to run to hell, running away from heaven? You know what I'm saying? Always having to have to coddle or to make sure that the person who gave you a favor, you're rectifying them, or you're reciprocating in a proper way that you think that they would deem fit, and so many attachments in this civilization, and it feels good to be able to finally let them go. Like me in my personal life, I've placed myself really in a position where I am going to have to truly embrace being alone. I've always been alone. I've never really felt camaraderie. I've had friends. I have group of friends. I love them very much, and they're very cool. But I've always felt left out. I never feel like I belonged, and I've never felt like I truly belong in any group or in any setting. I'm not social. I'm not an antisocial, but it's just like I always feel like I have to shut myself up, and I don't like that anymore, and I don't want to do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate that. Like I don't want to be in those positions anymore, where I'm in a group with people and I have to censor myself. Because I know that if I go down 5 minutes down any thought, I'm going to lose everybody. Everyone's going to look at me weird, or people are going to think I'm crazy or a conspiracy theorist, or they're not even going to understand anything, and I'm not going to find any fraternity in those sort of settings. And now that I literally work every day of my life, I've incurred these extra responsibilities and the extra load of work upon myself, because there are things that I have to attenuate to, and as a man, and the duties that I want to impose upon myself, I'm doing what I have to do. But in these sort of positions, I don't go out, even though I didn't really go out, but now I don't really hang out with people. It's, alone with my thoughts, and alone with the darkness, and alone with the cave that's been for a very long time since I've done that, because I feel like a lot of us go down these roads of self-destruction because, we're trying to justify ourselves a little bit too much. And in the back of our heads, we know that we're lying to ourselves, which is the most important thing. Any fool can lie to anybody else. I'm not Jordan Peterson, where you have to speak the truth at all times. Like, shut up, you ass. Of course we lie. We lie to ourselves every day. We lie to ourselves when we wake up in the morning. That's horse shit. But, there is virtue in being alone. And of course, I am well aware that probably a lot of the justification for this train of thought is because of the fact that I am alone. So, I know what's going on. I'm well aware, but I like it. I no longer want to be in those positions where I have to pretend to be something else, or pretend to care about shit that I don't care about. And I now, as I get older, I come off as extremely cold, even more than I ever did. I remember when I was doing training for like a sales job. I was doing outbound sales, like more inbound calls for like technicians and stuff, and it was a good job, I suppose. It was good pay until they made me do telemarketing, and that was the end of that. I'm not doing telemarketing, but it's not for me. There are people with personalities and inclinations that are far more suitable to those sort of pursuits than yours truly. But I remember the lady that was like training our group or whatever, when she was making an introduction about me, she was like, "Oh, if this guy was any more cold, you think he, if he was any more cool, you probably have to check his pulse." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like, I'm very cold. I don't show a lot of emotions. I don't show a lot of interest. And as I've gotten older, I guess that has become more pronounced. But as I read through these sort of works, and I'm just like, it kind of justifies that for myself. I justifying it to me, because you ask yourself, why am I cold? Why do I come off as cold to people? It's because I don't care about what you care about. I wipe my ass with your fucking whatever it is that you stress about. I go outside, and it's a very comical thing, because a lot of the times those of us who are placed in these lonely moments or epochs of our time or our lives, there's a very hypocritical thing that does occur, right? That when you are alone, all you want to do is be with the crowd. That herd inclination becomes increasingly dominant in your thoughts, and you want to hang out with the people. But then when you go out, you're like, God damn it, like these fucking morons. And then you place yourself on a pedestal surrounded by fools, which is very hypocritical, right? Like, then why did you hang out with them in the first place? Consider that you're constantly ridiculing and mocking them when you were all alone. But when you're in the group, you're all happy and dandy, and you're having a good time with everybody. Like make up your mind already. I have no interest in the outs, like not no interest, but the interest of the plenty does not resonate with me. And if the opinions of the many make no sense to me, then why should I justify anything that I do to them? Why should I care? Why should I create anything just so other people can take it, like so other people can like me? Why are we allowing ourselves to be hampered by such ridiculous notions or such flimsical thoughts? People's inclinations and people's desires or revulsion for you are are cast away by the wind all the time. It's not something steady. So what's the point? So yeah, no point in justifying anymore. And I like these. If you make yourself a fool, it's because of your own pursuits, and if you suffer, it's because of your own decisions, which is another monumental test that one has to embrace, right? Like, I'm always tired now. I've never been this tired for like consistently for a while now. So, but it's something I have to embrace. It's not I have to embrace the suck, like as David Goggins says. Embrace the suck, and love it, and revel in it, and love, and consider it as a tab, knowing that you're doing the right thing. You're not supposed to feel rejuvenated. You're not supposed to feel jovial. You're supposed to be exhausted. So I just like these, the virtue of selfishness and the virtue of being alone. No longer tied by the scruples of civilization and all this bullshit that goes along with that. So that'll be all for today. I really do enjoy these sort of ones. So thank you all for watching and listening. I do hope you all have a great day. Make some beautiful gains. And until next time, peace.